Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So today, let's talk about September. Yes, we are already in September. Is this a very, very bad month? And if so, will Bitcoin follow and crash and burn? So let's talk about this, and let's talk about everything else that's going on in the world today. Let's do this. Welcome, 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 guys. There is the market bell. Today is not looking so good. Yesterday we had red day. Today looking red once again. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if everyone is anticipating September is going to be bad, well, then they're not going to make moves and maybe even sell, and then again, you know, it just becomes self-fulfilling, right? But if you look at this right here, monthly return stats for S&P 500 going all the way back to 1964. So, yeah, you could see that if you average up all the years, September for the S&P 500 is a bad month. Negative 0.6%, right? You know the phrase, was it go away in May or sell in May? The reason for that is because look at it, from May to September, it's pretty even, dead, flat, right? And maybe even negative. Then October looks like it picks up once again, right? But of course, there are deviations for this. Of course, there are years where September did very well. You can see on the left side or right side, it says best 9%. So there has been months where, or years I should say, where September did go up 9%. So it's nothing is a certainty. But I do think, because so many people have mentioned it in my chat, what about September? You know, September's bad. What does that mean, right? It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, or people are just looking for a reason to be scared. And if so, then of course, then it trickles down and everyone starts believing it and it starts reacting. Now, I do believe that there's something to this right now, not specifically because we are in September, but because of the DXY. DXY has been going up a lot. Ever since we hit that low of 99 recently, we've been trending upwards and upwards and upwards and upwards and upwards. And you know, whenever DXY goes up, markets fall. That's just how it is. You could see that, unfortunately, DXY broke out of this trend line, right? And it is now around 105. And last time this happened, when DXY was around 105, that was all the way back in March of this year, when Bitcoin was much, much lower, right? So DXY, I do believe, is having a greater effect on Bitcoin and crypto overall, because whenever the strength of the dollar goes up, that means a lot of investors are switching from risk-on assets like Bitcoin and crypto and even tech, you know, the tech sector, and moving them into dollars, which again still doesn't make a whole lot of sense why anyone wants to move a lot into dollars. But I think this has a lot to do with what's going on with foreign currencies around the world, because they're all really struggling, really struggling really badly. If you look at what the DXY is comprised of, what the US dollar is competing with, like the euro and then the yen and the franc and all these others, they're all falling dramatically against the dollar, which is why DXY is going up, right? So there is something to this. So as for, you know, as for September, is it going to crash everything even more and bring Bitcoin and crypto down? Possibly. But I think this is more important, the DXY, right? Now, here's the good thing. DXY is, even though it broke out of this trend line, right, it is hitting a few Fibonacci levels and could reverse because of it. A lot of people do chart a DXY, so there is that. But outside of all the technicals and out of technical and, you know, and self-fulfilling prophecies, I should say, does that mean it's, you know, it's all done for? The answer is no. It's never that simple, right? I love to be able to say, well, yeah, this shows that everything's going to go down, and then this is reversing, and everything's going to go straight back up. No, it doesn't work that way, right? Obviously, on a global scale, there's a lot of things happening, and not all of them are bad. Here's an example out of China. Last few weeks, a lot of scare around Evergrande, one of the biggest property developers in China, and it crashed like 90%. Well, it soared 70% today because there's another property manager that was able to avoid default. So it seems like not all is so bad in China, or maybe it is, but China's not going to let these guys fall. They're too big to fall. If all these property managers start collapsing, go bankrupt, China's going to be in a very, very deep recession or depression. I mean, they're already seeing deflation all around, right? And it's no good. So, there's a lot of doom and gloom around the world, but does not mean that they're all going to end up in disaster, right? They could be bailed out, right? Just like the U.S. bailed out a lot of banks, even this year, right? A lot of bailouts left and right. You hand out money. That's what the governments do. And temporarily, they do solve, issues or collapses, right? But long term, what does that do? Basically, just causes inflation, right? Causes money to be devalued. And that's why we're in Bitcoin. But going back to this point, not all is bad. And also, something else I saw that is actually quite interesting. It's called the Quadruple Witching event. This happens every year. There's 4 times in a year where the fund managers basically rebalance their portfolio. Okay, it's a weird thing, but throughout the month, right? These big hedge funds guys who hold billions or trillions of assets, they reevaluate and they determine what to put in their portfolio. Now, here's the thing. The last time this happened was back in June. Bitcoin saw a big run up. Okay, so does that mean a lot of fund managers right now looking at the environment, especially seeing how down Bitcoin is from its, temporary top of 31,000, right? They might be licking their chops right now thinking this is a great time to be buying in before next year. And I've mentioned so many positive things about next year, right? So this witching event, this reallocation of or rediversification or rebalancing of hedge fund portfolios, this is also coming up. And this could be a big thing. Sometimes we just see big movements out of nowhere for Bitcoin, right? And we try to evaluate, we try to find out who's buying behind the scenes, all these OTC movements and stuff like that, right? It's all these big boys. So this is also coming up. So this could be absolutely huge, right? Again, something else to look forward to. But in addition to that, of course, we have Bitcoin spot ETF news. Grayscale is urging the SEC to approve their Bitcoin spot ETF application, which converts the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into a ETF, right? After this court victory, there's really no reason for the SEC to deny them any further. I've talked about this many, many, many times already, right? This could also be coming up maybe as soon as this month. No, probably not. Won't be this early. But this is also something coming up within the next few months, and there's other applications, right? So again, something like this could suddenly turn things around, be a huge catalyst for massive buying to drive Bitcoin and crypto higher, right? So that's why not all is lost. Whenever you have a lot of fear and doubt, right? You just got to focus. You got to focus on what's truly happening behind the scenes, not what people are saying, not self-fulfilling prophecies like, September is bad, so we should all sell. No, just pay attention to what's happening behind the scenes, right? And focus on the future, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, because there are so many positive things that are coming. And I know I've been saying that for a long time, But those of you guys that think a long time, that thinks I'm wrong because you haven't been in the market that long. Well, just wait and see. Some of you guys have been watching me since all the way back to 2017. Then you know I'm right, because cycles, sometimes they take a while. Sometimes these long drawdowns, these boring periods seem like they last forever, and they'll never, ever, ever go away. That the environment will never get better. But as someone that's lived through many, many of these cycles, I'm here to tell you, they do. It's just you got to withstand those times. It's kind of like the price of admission. Price of admission for crypto is standing the volatility and withstanding the FUD, really, right? All right, now moving forward, of course, once you get past all the FUD, all the staleness, all the volatility, the scariness stuff, right? You are rewarded. You are rewarded. So price predictions for Bitcoin by 2025 has not changed. Has not changed. Many still feel like, yeah, we will definitely make a new high, and who knows where we end up. Okay, you got a $300 billion fund manager that believes that Bitcoin is going to hit 150,000 by December 2025. That's not even the end. That's not the end of 2025, right? And you got so many others that's calling 180, 200, 250,000 by the end of 2025. This is why we wait. This is why we have patience and hodl, right? Because good things come to those that have the most patience and the most Bitcoins, obviously, right? So none of the fundamentals I've been talking about have changed, even though it does seem more scary recently because DXY going up, because we're in September, because Bitcoin hasn't moved for a while, right? I realize that, but great things are still on the works, I guess, coming. Here's, again, a good look at what may be happening, right? You look at this logarithmic growth curve, and then where Bitcoin, hits every single time, and where it will hit in 2025. Again, 150, 175, 200, 250,000. We don't know where it's going to end up, right? And in addition, let's not forget the growing adoption across the world, right? Including El Salvador. We haven't heard about El Salvador for a while. They're working on their Volcano Bitcoin bonds, but they're going to introduce Bitcoin education in public schools by 2024. That's outstanding. We need to have more education about money in general, in my opinion. In schools right now, they don't really teach you about money, okay? They teach you maybe a little bit about, well, it depends, right? If you want to be an accountant, they'll teach you how to work the books. If you want to go into business, they'll show you a lot of business cases, right? But in terms of how to build wealth, right? How to truly attain financial freedom, right? By being an entrepreneur or an investor, they don't teach you that. They teach you how to get a job, right? That's the point of school, to educate you how to work a 9-to-5 job, honestly, right? But if more people learned about creating wealth, generating wealth, how to become rich, right? I think the world will be very different than it is now. But anyways, teaching about Bitcoin kind of leads towards that direction. And people truly understand about money and how it devalues, okay, over time due to overprinting and everything that comes with that, right? If people learn about that at an early age, then more and more people will understand the importance of investing, and especially understand why it's important to hold something like Bitcoin, the ultimate store of value that we have, right? So that's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to other countries doing the same thing. Of course, we're seeing like countries like Argentina and Turkey and others that are suffering from hyperinflation right now. A lot of citizens are turning to Bitcoin because there's just no other alternative, right? love to see more countries embrace Bitcoin overall in the coming years. And I know it's going to happen, but love to see more like, I don't know, more pushes like this, right? Rather than citizens having no choice but to like turn to Bitcoin only due to some kind of catastrophe situation. No, we don't want to see that. We want to see them just be educated and learn and naturally want to get involved, right? Not be forced to get involved. Something like that. I guess that's my point. All right. Outside of these things, I mean, there's a lot of good things. Speaking of China, right? They still have a province that aiming for, I mean, they're just trying to build out a huge metaverse, right? China's doing a lot of crazy things, but they're trying to build out their metaverse that'll be worth $20.5 billion by 2025. That's what they're doing. And they're creating guidelines, they're creating laws, they're creating all this stuff, right, to make this giant metaverse city a success. So again, in terms of global adoption, it's happening. It's slow, but it's happening. This is very different than what I just said about Bitcoin education in El Salvador. But yeah, a win is a win, though, right? And then I saw this today, Kraken, one of the bigger exchanges in the U.S. I don't know how they compare actually to the others, but very well known, have been around for a while. They decided to add PayPal, which I you know, it's big news. And PayPal I know is a big fintech company, but I still don't trust PayPal. But I know a lot of you guys do use PayPal. Okay, so now you'll be able to deposit your money utilizing PayPal, if you wanted to. But still, I don't trust PayPal. All right, what else is there? For Cosmos fans, DYdX, which is a decentralized order book exchange, is moving from Ethereum to Cosmos. They just announced this at Korean Blockchain Week. So this will be pretty big because Cosmos doesn't really have a lot of DEXs. I know of Osmosis. That's pretty much it. I haven't heard of any other DEXs being launched in Cosmos. And DYdX, although I never used them before, I know they're relatively big. A lot of people have, right? And this could be a big thing for Cosmos. And it's order book style, which is different. Very, very different. It's interesting. And then lastly, just want to give you guys another reminder. The next crypto gem will be debuting tomorrow. But today, right around 12 o'clock for me, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'll be doing Spaces with Hourglass, with other judges, Brian and Leia, and we will be talking about the show, which will be debuting tomorrow. So very exciting. Make sure you follow Hourglass and make sure you tune in today. And I'll retweet it right before the Spaces. So that is also happening today. So make sure you tune in. All right. That is pretty much it. Let's see. Today, still not off to a good start. We'll see. Hey, Mara and Coinbase are up. So whenever you see that, that means something's happening. Usually Mara and Coinbase follows Bitcoin. And sometimes they're leading indicators. Okay, like if the stocks start going up, then a lot of times we see Bitcoin start following afterwards. I don't know why, but it's happening. So that's actually kind of a surprise. Coinbase and Mara both going up today. Can we see a resurgence of Bitcoin today because of that? Wall Street is pretty bullish. All right, let's do some Q&A. Skipping Stones, George, Goddaughter, Dave Ramsey, High School Edition. I recommend for kids. Is that a book or something? I know who Dave Ramsey is and what he's about, but I didn't know he has a high school edition. But that's good though. Learning about money is good. Gen 3 Media, new member. Detroit Unveiled, good for library. I have no interest in them, and they're still bankrupt. It doesn't change that fact. And then what else is there? I deleted PayPal a long time ago. I have E3 says I have 40% of GDBC in my 401k. GBDC is up over 100% this year. So hopefully you've been DCing into that. Doug, I'm looking forward to it. It's been many months since I've recorded. Since I recorded, I guess, being on the set. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to how they edit it. Jeremy, what's your opinion on Lumium? I've given up on them. They've been hyping up their game since 2017. Still not done. So I just feel like all the games, the hyped up promise game from 2017, you know, they had their chance and they still they all kind of blew it, right? For 5 years they've been developing and still not done. There's a whole new generation of games that are about to come out, and some that have come out. They're already playable and they're really fun, but there's a lot more that will be like eye-opening, right? So all these older ones, they made their money, but they still have not produced what they promised. So I'm kind of off the bandwagon of those games. Lazaro, I'm glad you are still here. Did you see that Colorado DMV is accepting Bitcoin payments through PayPal? What I mean, honestly, any DMV that accepts PayPal will accept Bitcoin payments because you can just simply convert your Bitcoin into cash, right? So I didn't think that story was a big deal. That's not a dumb thing to say about Lumium. Just because you're a bag holder doesn't mean it's not true. Lumium is not from 2021. I remember Lumium back in 2017. You were probably around from 2021. They've been around for a long time. NPO, Georgia needs to show Cosmos some love. I just talked about this. I just talked about DYdX launching Cosmos. Cosmos is a weird layer 0. They produce the tools for all these companies to come out their own L1, yet all these L1s don't benefit the main L0 or the Atom token. That's the unfortunate thing, right? So you see a lot of L1s, but they don't really help anything else. So that's the problem. So maybe DYdX, their order book, you know, introducing another DEX to the ecosystem is good. You know, Osmosis is there, but I haven't heard of anything else in Cosmos. So maybe having another one is going to help them. But they need to figure out how to make Atom more useful. That's the problem. They need to figure that out. Do you believe banks around the world will be using XRP? No, I don't believe so. You know, Ripple will probably convince a few banks, but for all the banks to be using XRP, no. I don't believe that's going to happen. Wanting your opinion on potential success of PYR with Gala having their problems now. I mean, I mentioned Vulcan Forge is like probably the #2 biggest gaming platform, but they're moving towards really to becoming an L1. They're concentrating on Elysium and their decks and everything else in that L1. So they're kind of not the same. Okay, and Gala with their problems, I don't know if that's going to help Vulcan. But Vulcan is working on a lot of promising things. Again, if they could get their L1 to be successful, then they will become extremely successful in this upcoming bull run. So we'll see. But outside of those two, I don't know. I think maybe Magic, there's not a lot of gaming platforms. There's games, but gaming platforms are rarity in the space. Any big movers today? SHIB is up today. 2%. Uniswap is up 3%. You got some greens today. Synthetic up huge. 12%. Something must have happened on Synthetic. SafePal, GMX. SafePal is still around? Wow. I think SafePal is trying to be like PayPal, a Web3 PayPal, but it operated too much like PayPal. I think that's what SafePal is, but unless that's a wallet and I'm thinking about something else. Actually, I might as well look at it. Maybe SafePal is a wallet maker. Yeah, no, I was wrong. I was thinking about something else. They're a wallet maker. Interesting. Why does a wallet maker need to have their own token? And why is that token pumping up? It's been doing pretty well the last 7 days, 18% last month, 38%, up 59% year to year. But all is down 38%. But everything's down that much. They've been having a really good year. I have to look more into SafePal. I don't understand why Wallet Maker needs to have their own token, but they seem to be gaining strength at this point. Yes, I saw that Ben, aka X BitBoy. I always thought I saw his latest video. He said, "Yeah, it's weird for a 40-year-old man to be called BitBoy," right? I always thought that too, but it's his thing. It's his slogan. But obviously, he's separated from his old company. He started his new channel. He's streaming on the same time as his own time slot, right? So they're gonna go head to head. It'll be interesting to see what his new show will be like. He said he's going to be very humble. No more Lambos, no more designer shirts, no more anything, right? He's going to go back to his roots. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. And I'm going to be checking out his show too when he comes out. Do you see Doge going to at least 50 cents? Less than 10x, 8x, something like that. Can it happen? Yeah, I think that could happen, especially if Elon integrates Doge into his new X payment app, which I think he's working on. If he could do that, it's going to make Doge skyrocket. Do you think we'll see a big MMO RPG game like World of Warcraft? Yeah, there are already a lot being created, but they're just never done. Yeah, like BitBoy Crypto, like his old company, in my opinion, I think they need to change their name. They should not be calling it BitBoy Crypto anymore. They should call it something else, you know. Um, yeah, so they're gonna have to figure out how to like get people to, you know, I don't know. There's still a lot of hate, you know. So I think they need a name change. Stakes has their own problems. They were just hacked recently, and then they reopened up. But you know, recovering $40 million uh, is tough, right? So I don't know how they're gonna handle that. But then again, maybe 40 million for them is a drop in the bucket, Cons- considering what they're paying for some streamers to be on their new platform Kick. It's insane, insane. So maybe 40 million is really nothing, a drop in the bucket for them. UFO gaming platform, they made a big splash before, especially because they were going to put their NFT marketplace on Condena. I don't know if that ever happened. Man, UFO is really small. A 16, 17 million market cap. I don't know if they're really a competitor at this point. Doesn't seem like they have a lot of traction. Gala, despite the fact being so, I mean, despite the fact they've been dumping recently, they're still at 375 million in market cap. Way, way, way. Still way bigger than everyone else. And, you know, speaking of Vulcan is around 112. Good for them. So, yeah, I definitely say for gaming platforms, you know, number one is still Gala. Number two has to be Vulcan. And everyone else is just way behind. Nate got keys. When private jet? Probably never, ever. Uh, Maybe short distances. It makes sense, but like any long distance travel on a private jet is so godly expensive, even if you own it. But yeah, maybe after 2025 I could consider it, but I don't think it'll be ever. Dude, Nate, I just pulled up your channel. Dude, you're huge. 3.63 million subscribers and all your videos about pranking gold diggers. I don't know if it's all staged or not, but I love those videos when I see them on TikTok. So, good for you, man. It was going to cost my buddy Joe 40K to take private flight from Chicago to Las Vegas. Yeah, it's about 10,000 per hour. Now, if you can fit like 8 people on there, right? 6 to 8 people and split the cost is fine. But if you're taking a solo flight from like, you know, Chicago to Las Vegas, 4 hours, 40,000, that's just not worth it, man. There's I don't care. I mean, it's just so ridiculously wasteful. It's just not worth it. But again, if you're a billionaire, I guess it's worth it. I don't particularly have any interest in prop chain or property on chain. I don't know enough about it to really speak to it, but I would say things like real estate, it's going to take a while before people, like fractional real estate. I think there are laws that needs to be worked out, and I think there are regulations that are still being, I don't know if they're being worked on, but they probably need it because I just can't see how all jurisdictions will recognize fractional real estate, I guess the legality around it and what happens with certain things like how you pay taxes and what if you want to cash out, and then parts where it relates to like interest or dividends or whatever, I don't know. There just seems to be a lot. And maybe it's just because I don't understand enough of it and, the project handles all that. But it just seems to me there's a lot of complications. Scotty, how much money is enough for you? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not aiming for 9 figures. I think somewhere in the 8 figures, is enough. Enough is enough. Like, you just don't need any more. Uh-oh. Coinbase is flipping the green, red. Mara's flipping a red. I think markets are tanking right now. Yeah, NASDAQ is tanking. It's also very weird to see Aaron Rodgers in a non-Packers uniform. Isn't Rodgers like extremely old now? He's like 41. He's like my age, which is not really old in life, but really old to be a QB. I have not been following football at all, so I only found this out recently. Do you know how often private jets go down almost daily? I don't hear about a lot of private jet crashes. They probably land all the time, but due to malfunction. But like for crashes, I never hear that. And I figure in private jet, if you were going to crash, at least you could have a parachute and jump out, right? You have a chance. With commercial airlines, there's no parachute. You can't just like open the escape hatch and just jump out with a parachute. I figure that that's a pro for private jets. Have you checked out the Shield box set yet? No. I've heard the Shield is probably one of the best shows of all time. It's one of the shows I never got into. I would actually consider watching that whole thing. But you guys, if you guys have not been watching the show Billions, you should. It's such a good show, and they involve crypto and NFTs now too. I mean, the show is just brilliant. You guys all need to watch Billions on Showtime. You can watch it on Paramount Plus too. They make parachutes for private jets. Yeah, so that's good. How do I feel about GameFi? I think there are a lot of really good games coming out. I know for sure because I'm talking to some of them, right? And these games are made by developers from all the big gaming companies. So they know what they're doing, and they're bootstrapped. They don't require a lot of funding. They're all developers, and these games are going to rock people's I guess, perception of what a Web3 game could be like. Okay, all the previous Web3 games, the ones that were very hyped up, promised, they all kind of like went nowhere. But the new games that'll be coming into space will blow people away. So I'm very hopeful about it, and I really like the fact that we're going to get dApps that will actually drive millions of users into the space. Because right now, besides DeFi, all the chains are just ghost chains. There's no activity. There's no dApps that people really use, right? But games, if you think about it, of course, they're a big driver of people. There are millions of people playing games. And if you can get them into the space on any specific chain, it's going to change the landscape. So I'm really looking forward towards these new like Web3 games that are coming out, and looking for them to drive in mass adoption into this space. So I'm bullish on them. Did you hear Sora Network is celebrating launch of XST synthetic platform and started a 34K airdrop campaign? No, I did not hear that. And no one heard that because no one cares about Sora Network or that XST synthetic platform or care about that 34K airdrop campaign. That was a total shill super chat. It's okay. I'll let you have it, but no, I don't care about it. All right. So to conclude, hey guys, don't let this, okay, become a self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? Everyone's saying September's going to be bad, and of course everyone says it and it starts selling. It's going to cause it to be bad. It's just that simple. There's a lot of great things happening, okay? The fundamentals of Bitcoin has not changed. There are a lot of good things on the way, okay? So don't be giving up hope. Don't be giving up your life-changing wealth, okay, to the big boys that are buying behind the scenes by the billions. They are buying behind the scenes for sure. So don't transfer your wealth to them, right? Make sure you save some for yourself. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.